Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. It's time for our weekly Q&A. So all of these questions have been sent in by our Patreon and YouTube channel members, which all help support the channel and so help support the website with our server fees, etc. So normally we do this live on a Sunday night. However, this week I'm not doing it. I'm just tested positive for COVID. Got a bit of a cough, bit of a cold, and generally the idea of trying to do a 45-minute live show is probably not going to work. So therefore, I thought if I do a pre-done one, therefore we can get in and jump into some of the questions. So let's jump into it. So Man Mao said, do you think there's a future combined HBO Max and Discovery Plus series will force Disney to change what they're doing with the Disney bundle? And I definitely feel like this is going to be something that's going to continue to push Disney to sort out what it's doing. I did an article on Saturday about the same kind of thing, and you can really see how the streaming services are all coming together, putting all their content together, and sport is a major part of it. Sport brings in a lot of viewers, and Disney are spending billions on content. And the way that they've kind of been doing so many changes on Disney Plus in the past few months in the US, we've seen it with the parental controls. We've seen it with all the ESPN content dropping onto Disney Plus. We've seen the live streaming tests. We've got Dancing with the Stars coming later this year. We've got the ad tier coming in. They're definitely making the changes to me that are going to make a big shift in terms of what Disney Plus is in the United States, being more combined. Now, I think the Disney streaming bundle probably won't exist for probably. The problem right now is you've got the Hulu issue, and can they get out of that deal early? That's going to be a big issue. The difference is, I do wonder if they're just actually going to just try and make Disney Plus more and more content in there, and kind of either let Hulu go off and just kind of whittle away and just slowly ease off while they try and get people over the Disney Plus, or if they've worked out a deal to kind of sort the things out and they're working towards an end goal of maybe later this year, all of this is going to get sorted. I wouldn't be at all surprised if ESPN Plus merges in with Disney Plus rather than in with Hulu. There's all this content recently dropping in that we've seen, like the Tom Brady special this week, and they're really starting to blur those lines of where all this comes in. All the other streamers are now including sports in their content. We've seen it with Apple TV, Amazon, Peacock, HBO. They're all going to have live sports in there. Now, I wouldn't be at all opposed to ESPN Plus being an add-on within Disney Plus. I think that might be a good way of doing it. Or if they just make maybe ESPN Plus available within Disney Plus, that might be another way that they can kind of incorporate that. And so I think that we are going to see a massive shift in the United States. And I think the combined efforts of Discovery Plus and HBO Max are going to be just another big streamer. Recently, it was revealed that they've been able to outgrow Disney, and when they put them together, they're just going to have a bigger streaming service. And ultimately, people are only going to subscribe to so many different platforms. And so having one Disney app is going to be the better option. We're seeing them already doing this around the world. So it's not a case that, they won't do it. Well, they've been doing it everywhere else. The signals that they're putting out there seem to indicate that Disney Plus is changing. And I definitely think that's going to be an issue moving forward. Caleb asked kind of a similar question about CNBC recently reported that the WWE, the UFC, and Formula One are being courted heavily by streaming giants. They include Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Disney. What are your thoughts? I think Disney are going after every kind of sport they possibly can to boost up ESPN Plus and Hulu and their ABC networks. So I can totally see them going after this. I mean, Disney already have quite a deal with UFC for their ESPN. Formula One seems to be sliding more with Netflix. WWE obviously is in Peacock in the US, so that might be a while. But WWE have already made a deal with Disney for Indonesia. I think we're just going to see more of this where they're trying to get access. Sport is a big deal for Disney and for all the streaming services. A lot of people watch this stuff. Personally, I feel like, Disney investing all this money in content that they don't actually own seems a little bit off. I would, imagine how much content they could create with all that money they're spending on sports. But that would mean them completely coming out of it. And sports is a massive deal. So I definitely think we're going to see much more sport. And as I said, I wouldn't be at all surprised if ESPN Plus gets added into Disney Plus, or they do something along those lines. Connor says, are your parents pleased that the NCIS is on Disney Plus? So this is in the United Kingdom. So this got added this past week. I know they're going to love it. They are going to be yeah, they're going to be watching this every single week with a new episode, because I think it's season 18. They'll probably go back and watch from the beginning, because there's probably a season or two that they've missed along the way with it jumping around all the different networks and stuff. So that's definitely a cool thing. So they're going to be happy. I did think about starting watching it from episode 1, because I've not seen it before, but it was quite daunting with the idea of 18 seasons. There's a lot of stuff to catch up on. Daniel asked, when do you think US Disney Plus will get its first R-rated movie, and what movie do you think it will be? Was interested in Kiss the Dragon until it was announced it's not coming. Yeah, so Kiss the Dragon was in the video at the beginning of April. They pulled it and they contacted me and said it's not coming. It's going to Canada, which we already know. For me, if they're going to do an R-rated movie, I think a Marvel movie is more likely to slide in, or something from National Geographic. They're going to kind of go in that way. Kiss of the Dragon was extremely random. I think it was a mistake. To me, I'm wondering if they're going to wait until they can do the ad tier and do it all at once and just have a massive, big explosion of new content. So yeah, it was a bit of an odd choice of why that one come in. Daniel also asked, with Dancing with the Stars, the US version coming to Disney as the first live streaming in the US and Canada, could we see more live programming on Disney Plus? I think we're definitely going to see more of it. We're going to see more events, red carpet events, sporting events, live events. You're going to see a lot more of this stuff. As far as live shows, I don't think they put on a huge amount, but things like Earth Live, maybe they might start doing stuff like that. But the technology's there. But I think they are really going to start leaning in on this live stuff now that they've got it done. And Dancing with the Stars is kind of unique in that, with it being a little bit more live. Michael says, when should we expect marketing like trailers and stuff for the Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie to ramp up? I've been watching the cartoon to get ready for the movie. Now, the movie's coming out at the end of May, so I would suspect we'll probably start seeing stuff picking up end of April. There's no point going too heavy-handed to begin with, because they've got other stuff they need to promote before that. And also generally with the Disney Plus stuff, things tend to get left much closer to the launch of the movie, because there's no point doing it weeks and weeks in advance, because people are just going to forget. And if it's not there, you might be it's coming this Friday, and the week of the event, and the week after it pushing it. But it's not really like cinemas where you're trying to get people to buy tickets like with Doctor Strange. They're gonna want to put that push on it when it's there, or when it's just about to be there. So I think we've seen this with a lot of other stuff. They tend to wait till much closer to the actual situation before they actually do it. So Gavin asks, who do you think will buy Channel 4? What about Disney, as this would help with their UK quota? So here in the UK, the Channel 4 network, the government has decided that they want to sell it off, and so different companies are going to come in and try and bid for it. A lot of companies seem to be interested in it. ITV, Comcast. Doesn't seem to be Disney. Don't seem to be sliding into it. I don't think Disney really wants a network, a television network, and all the red tape that goes with it. They have to create news and all the rest of it. Yeah, they're probably better off just buying production companies and stuff. I don't think it's right for Disney. I think they're getting the quota. They'll be better off swooping in and getting some of the production companies and stuff that are around it. But I don't think Disney should buy. I actually don't think Comcast should buy. I actually think it would probably be better off it being ITV I don't, as much as this whole idea of everyone having all these little companies and everyone doing it's not going to work in 21st century with so many big companies. They need to be part of a bigger one. I think if you add Channel 4 in with the BritBox and the ITV player and merge that all into one, I think that would be a better way, and keep it maybe a bit more British way. But yeah, I definitely feel like that would be a better option than Disney, because Channel 4 don't really own a lot of stuff. They just license a lot of stuff. Gavin says, with the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, they have made it clear that they want one single app, which is very sensible. From your point of view, what do you think they'll call it? I think HBO Max isn't a bad name anyway. I think it's better than Discovery Plus. Whether or not it becomes, they might just go Warner. I think Warner Brothers Discovery Plus or Warner Brothers Discovery Max might be a bit much. But it wouldn't be at all surprised if they go with something completely different. But I think HBO Max has kind of got I think that's a good branding for it. But then they might just go with Warner Brothers Discovery Plus or Warner Brothers Discovery Max or WB Discovery. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be hard. They need really just one word to kind of capture it all. Yeah, so maybe Discovery Plus might be just the best way of doing it, going that way around. But I think HBO might, I don't know, I think HBO probably might be the better way of doing it. Gavin went on to say, have a feeling they will merge Discovery Plus platform with HBO in terms of Max. Yeah, I think it makes much more sense. They've already said that that's what their plan is. They've got other streaming platforms as well, like CNN Plus and Boomerang. I think they're all going to end up getting merged in together. Matt says, when do you think they'll add Dancing with the Stars seasons 1 to 30 onto Disney Plus? Not sure if they will do. I mean, it depends on the rights with the music. A lot of this stuff that's live and ode shows, they don't necessarily have the rights for as long as we think they will do. And that's definitely an issue kind of going forward with all this stuff. But yeah, so not necessarily convinced that they will do. They might add some previous seasons, but not all. Seatan asks, Will Smith has been banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years for You Know What He Did. What is your take on this? I'll be honest, he was completely in the wrong for what he did. Getting out there and sort of slapping him was not good. I think the ban is fine. They had to do something. Yeah, it's a real tricky one because on one hand, he just didn't act right. He just shouldn't have done it. But yeah, so I feel like that was the best way of them doing it, and just kind of he's gone away now from the Oscars. He won't be going anywhere near it. Tim says, is the multiple revised list for April in the US a little bit concerning? Well, this is interesting because the US lists throughout this entire year of 2022 have constantly been evolving, constantly changing, constantly adjusting. And I don't necessarily mind them adding stuff. Sometimes it's a bit annoying when they take stuff away. But it does look like there's a lack of planning, a lack of foresight into what's going on. I don't know, the schedule needs to be a little bit better than what it is. The way that they're kind of announcing stuff is all over the place. Nobody really knows what's coming on when they're supposed to. The big lists, I mean, if they're not ready on the 15th of the month, then just say, yeah, we're actually going to just stop releasing them then, or just stop releasing them then, and put them out maybe on the 1st of the month or the day before. If they need those extra couple of weeks to get everything in line, just don't announce it. While I like to have the stuff announced a couple of weeks in advance, and not all streamers do this, but I do feel like they need to get a better hand on what they're doing. The lack of library content is quite weird. It's like, it feels like they're waiting. Are they waiting for to add the general entertainment? Are they just sorting out all the issues for the other countries that are launching soon? To me, it just looks like, when you're looking at it going, you're not as organized as you were. Stuff keeps changing. I'm wondering if there's some plans and stuff. Maybe there's going to be a big reshuffle of how Disney Plus is running, and right now it just seems to be like on cruise control, just kind of plodding along. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's like I didn't even make a video for April because the lists are changing so much, because it was like, well, no, it was completely out of date within seconds of that information coming out. And then there was wrong stuff, and yeah, it's not good. But to me, it's an indication that there's stuff changing and things are in flux and things are moving around a little bit. Lady Jennifer Snow says, with the news that Dancing with Stars will now air on Disney Plus instead of ABC in the US, do you think they will try this with other scripted shows? I don't think they'll do it with other scripted shows. There's no need for them to do it as a live stream. Yeah, they'll just want, you can just go in and watch it and stuff. So I don't think they need to do it with scripted. Man says, what do you think Disney will announce on their earnings call in May? I think a lot of this is just going to be trying to get back to basics, back to the parks are open, because they've got problems obviously in China right now with parks being closed. Get the parks open, focus on that, focus on the box office success of things like probably Doctor Strange at that point. Push the international launch of Disney Plus in the weeks ahead. Maybe hint at what's coming up. I think they just got to trust run, hit home runs. As far as making big announcements, yeah, I mean, we just need some more information on. But yeah, earnings calls are a little bit funny, but they've got a lot of issues that they need to deal with outside of like Disney Plus and stuff that they need to deal with, and that might be a good opportunity for them to get on top of it there. Matt also said, what are your predictions for what's coming to Disney Plus in May for both the UK and the US? So we know, obviously, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've got a Rescue Rangers movie. We've got Sneakerella. We've also got, we've got the Valet as well coming internationally. I think lineup for like, I don't know if there's going to be much more. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we got something for Star Wars Day on May the 4th. But it's looking to me like May's already starting to look quite good on the originals front. I think with the Moon Knight finale and Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's probably enough of that content. They've got a few movies to fill in between. Yeah, I don't know if there'll be much more than that. Maybe some National Geographic stuff. As far as like in the United Kingdom, what content we could get, we're getting, what's it, Life and Beth and How I Met Your Father. So that's extra shows. I'm hoping that we get more content from like the FX shows, like Atlanta and stuff like that. Just need to get everything sorted. And maybe I'm really hoping at some point, you know, if when they get the US sorted, it might trickle down and help out everybody else. But yeah, I think in May's kind of sort of already pretty much the originals are lined up already. And last question, Frank says, why were people complaining about Kiss of the Dragon being the first R-rated film? But my point is, I didn't complain when Premier Access and Simpsons. Well, I think the problem was not necessarily, I think they weren't really complaining about Kiss of the Dragon. I think it was just so random. One random R-rated film on that list did seem out of place. I mean, it was out of place, they removed it. I think that was what, I think people were more complaining about the idea of it being not necessarily the movie. I think it was just like the randomness of it, which if it was just a generic mistake, you know, I think when we want R-rated movies, you want maybe a big hitter, you know, you want something like Deadpool or Logan or, you know, Aliens or Die Hard or Predator. You know, you want something with a bit more clout than just some random Kiss of the Dragon. It was, yeah, I think that was what the problem was. It was so random. That was the issue with that one. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me on this week's Q&A. Thank you so much for watching this one. Be sure to check us out next week for another video. With a Q&A, we'll be back with our Disney Plus news throughout the week. Check out this weekend's podcast. And on that note, guys, thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't do it live, but as you can see, my voice is not 100%. And on that note, guys, thank you very much. See you guys soon. Laters. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.